All right, welcome into the show. Creative Crypto here. Today, guys, this video is going to be all about technical analysis and charting on TradingView. So if you're looking for meme coin content, look for a different video on my channel. This is strictly going to be about Solana and charting where I think the price is going to go and showing some technical analysis and kind of give you some insight as to where the price might be going in the future. What I was looking at was the weekly candle right here and comparing it to back here. Okay, when we had a big drop in the market and then we recovered. But see right here how we got a fake out, how it started going up and then it crashed back down and hit a lower low right here. And then it started going back up. That's what I thought it was going to do over here. But we got the fake out and it was much more of a fake out this time. We actually got 3 weeks of green candles. So it went up here. Then we got the fake out back down for a lower low here. Okay, and see this green line? I needed to see it hit this green line or at least go past this green line to feel confident that it's going to be reversed. And you can see by this indicator as well how the fake out happened, how if it was like this, you would see this continue to cross and go up here and this line would turn green. That didn't happen. See how this went up here, but then it got faked out and this line has stayed red the entire time. So once this flips green, you know, this is kind of a lagging indicator on the weekly candles. Okay, it's a little late there to wait. But what I want to see is, you know, this reversal. That's basic technical analysis pattern number 1 that I'm kind of looking at. And I kind of had it drawn here with this bar trend pattern, as you can see. The price has been kind of front running this pattern. As you can see, based on this, we should have had 2 more days of green candles and then the correction back down. But we did not get that. We actually got the fake out. Okay, so that's the first thing I'm looking at. But let me dive a little deeper because that's just on the surface. That's pretty easy to see just looking at the weekly candles. Let's dive a little deeper and get into some more advanced technical analysis. Okay, so now we are on the daily candles on Solana and we're going to dive in a little deeper here. I removed the indicator for now on the bottom so we can clearly see where we are on the chart. And what I'm doing here is I have drawn some Fibonacci patterns and sequences because everything in this world is based off Fibonacci. And you will see that over time how these patterns repeat themselves. And I'm going to show you proof here on the Solana chart. So this is the Solana chart on Binance. This is when it first got listed on Binance. And it got listed at about 20 cents, went up to $1, and then kind of stayed stable at 50 cents. I remember seeing Solana back in the day when it was listed, and it was about right here at about $2, $1 in that range. And I looked at the supply and I said, no, I don't think this coin is going to do anything. And it went up to $3, crashed to $1, and then it just went on its run and kind of went crazy, you know, up to $50. This is actually where I FOMO'd in on Solana back here. I used some crypto that I had gotten from the Uniswap airdrop, and I bought a big chunk of Solana at about $50 and rode it up, you know, to 150, 200 range, and then started taking some profit. Now, how can we take advantage of this trend again in Solana? I'm going to show you where we are in the market currently. Okay, so what I'm seeing here on the chart, there's 2 different things that could happen to Solana. I've narrowed it down to 2 different scenarios. Okay, first off, let me show you the scenario based on the Fibonacci sequence. Okay, now the way I draw these Fibonacci rings, these are called Fibonacci rings. They have an epicenter here and then it branches out and it's in a ring form. Versus normally you see Fibonacci, it's on a line form like this. But this Fibonacci sequence is on a ring form. And there's different ways to draw this. There's really no right or wrong way to draw a Fibonacci pattern. The way you can tell if you've drawn it correctly is if things start to line up and if things start to play out the way they should based on the patterns. Okay, so what I want you to look at first is I have a green ring here, then a red, then a green, then a red. So it's alternating. You know, bullish, bearish, bearish. Okay, Fibonacci rings. Now, what we're looking at here is we are on a red Fibonacci ring currently. We'll notice that where we are in the price sequence is between the 3.618 right here and the 2.618 Fibonacci rings. Okay, notice that's where the price is currently. Now, if we go back to the past Fibonacci bearish ring right here, 3.618, 2.618. What do we have? We go up here. Oh, look at this. We had a huge drop. Let's actually zoom in on this. You can see this in more detail. So this is it here. This was back in October 2022. Solana was sitting at around $30, okay? And then it just crashed. Now, Bitcoin and the entire crypto market was probably following this same price pattern here. As you can see, we got tons of red volume right here, just getting obliterated on the chart. But what I want to analyze here is when the price crossed this ring and entered into this zone, okay, between the 3.618 and the 2.618 right here. Okay, that's what I'm looking at. See the 3.618, this ring, if you follow it all the way up, goes right here. This one, 2.618, goes all the way right here. So I'm looking at in between right here, because that's where the price is currently today on a different ring. So if we zoom in, we can see here when it crossed here, let's do a little time frame. So from here to here, when it actually started to recover, when we got the first green candle, was about 77 days. Okay, 77 days from when we crossed this to where it really bottomed out, and it really did bottom out. I mean, it hit $8. Okay, Solana hit $8. So it went from, $30 to $8 in 77 days. And then it got a nice recovery back up. Okay, and it really never got that low ever again. Okay, as you can see here on the chart, it just continued to skyrocket. So imagine if you had loaded up your Solana right here and you were able to hold, all the way for basically a year. I mean, you'd be up 10x on your bag right here. Now, granted, it's much easier to go from $8 to $100 for a coin versus, 100 to 1,000. However, it could still happen based on, the market cap of crypto overall. But I just wanted you to see this. Okay, remember that 77-day mark. That's when we got the first green candle right here. So now let's go to where we are today on Solana. We're at the same area between the 3.618 and the 2.618. Okay, so let's zoom in right here and let's see where we are on this trajectory. All right, so if we take a measurement from when it crossed this ring here, okay, how far along are we? We are on day 71. Okay, so there's still a little bit of time to go based on the last Fibonacci sequence pattern. So if we draw this out to 77, look at this, okay, kind of right where I drew this green dot, as you can see. So day 77 will be right here, Monday, February 9th. That's when the market is going to recover, in my opinion. Okay, not financial advice, of course. Don't bet your life savings on this, but this is what I'm seeing here based on the Fibonacci sequence and patterns on previous price action. Now, the way you can double check to make sure that this pattern is actually legit, and I've drawn these Fibonacci rings correctly to be able to predict this, is a few ways, checks and balances, okay? So very similar, and we did get the same dump down during this same Fibonacci ring. That's number one. But we need a little bit more proof than that, right? So let's go over here to the past Fibonacci bearish time again. We had an all-time high here for Solana back on November 2021, hit about $240. Okay, that was the all-time high. Notice that's where this red bearish ring was created right here. The epicenter is right here. The way I draw these rings is I like to put the epicenter either at the tops or the bottoms. That's where you draw the epicenter of the rings, okay? And that's how these patterns can correlate to each other. Let's check our work again. So let's take a time measurement from the middle of this ring, which is basically the all-time high, okay? Let's take a measurement right about the center, and let's draw it out to where the bottom happened, okay? The bottom of the next rings, where the reversal happened. That was 388 days, give or take. Let's just say 390, just for the video. 390 days. Okay, so remember that number, 390 days from all-time high to the bottom, and then the recovery happened. So now we'll go to our next ring, our red ring here, okay? This was the next all-time high. See how it touched the all-time high again for Solana, 240, 240? It actually touched it twice right here, okay, for a double top, all right? Now, let's take a measurement again from the center of this ring, and let's measure it out, okay? Look at this. 390 days would be right here. Look at this. This is very eye-opening, guys. Okay, what does this measure to? It measures to very close to where we were thinking where the bottom is going to be on February 8th. Okay, it measures to February 2nd, which was yesterday. So very, very close. Sometimes with these patterns, you can give or take a few days here and there. And there's a potential that maybe I need to fix this ring just a little so it lines up a little bit more perfectly. But you can see very, very close, okay, from the last all-time high. And maybe I need to shift this ring over a little to the left, but I wanted to be able to get both of these double tops in here because technically this was a little bit more of a top, okay? But maybe I need to just shift it a little bit to the left. So that's how you check your work on these Fibonacci ring patterns or any type of Fibonacci indicator. Okay, so we have that lining up. We have this lining up to the low there, and then this lining up to the next low. And also it lining up in the actual Fibonacci ring. Okay, we're in between 3.618, 2.618, 3.618, 2.618. We get the dump, and then we get the recovery back up. Okay, and then that's when the creation of the next green ring will print. Okay, and we can kind of project where that green ring will be as well. We can kind of add this to the chart already and kind of project that going forward. Okay, so that is the first scenario. That's what I'm looking at for Solana, and I'm actually going to put a pretty big long in on Solana when we hit, that Monday or even that Sunday potentially, seeing when this is going to actually recover. And it also correlates closely to this bar trend pattern that I showed you in the beginning of the video, going off of the weekly candles on Solana that it did back here. Okay, that was a weekly chart pattern. Now, like I said, that's the first scenario, and that's a bullish scenario, okay, where we're going to get a reversal and then we're going to go back up to all-time highs. And what we can even do now is we can go over here and we can take a bar trend pattern and draw this out and see how this is going to look. So come over here, click on bar pattern. So we said we're on day 71. We have about 6 days to go. So let's try to draw this bar trend pattern with about 6 days, give or take, to go. Okay, so I'll be kind of right here, pretty close. And let's draw this all the way to the next all-time high. Okay, so let's take this and let's bring it over here and let's see what it's looking like on the chart. Okay, so we go back here and it looks like it fits pretty well actually right here. Let's try to fit it in a little bit more. And yeah, it looks good. In this scenario, it would hit about 77, 75. Okay, it would break down from here. Now remember, we said the reversal was going to be around Monday or Sunday, and that lines up with this bar trend pattern. As you can see, this would be Monday, and this is when we'd get the first green candles back up. So this matches pretty good. And notice how this bar trend also respects these other Fibonacci lines. See how it finds support right here on the green, then bounce up here, find resistance, find support, and then go back up. Now this bar trend pattern, if it continues, has Solana going up, touching these never seen levels over $1,000. Okay, now that would be in 2027. We'd have a crazy pump here in November later this year. I'm not sure what would be the catalyst of something like this, and it may not actually happen because it's a lot easier to go from $8 to 150 versus 150 up to 1,000. Okay, but it could happen. It could follow this, somewhat similar pattern. But all I'm looking to catch on this trade is I want to catch this initial pump. That's all I want to catch. Okay, I want to catch the bottom here at about 89, something like that, and I want to ride it up for about a month for 120%. That's what I'm looking for. Because if you leverage that, if you put a 10x on that, the 120% will be over 12x on whatever you trade. So if you're trading $100, you're going to make $1,200. If you're trading $1,000, you're going to make $12,000. No guarantees, of course, no guarantees. You could get liquidated and lose everything, and this pattern could be null and void. I'm also going to give you a backup plan if that happens. A backup plan where I think is foolproof on this, where either we're going to hit this long on this reversal pattern, or we're going to hit a short that's going to make us just as much. Now, let me show you where that short would come into play. Okay, if this pattern gets voided, okay, if this doesn't come to fruition. Okay, so let me show you the bearish scenario. So let's zoom out. Let's go back to our previous all-time high here back on November 2021. Now notice, this is what some people think is going to happen. Okay, this is the bearish scenario. I showed you the bullish one, which probably not a lot of people are actually looking at. They probably are all thinking it's going to be super bearish. And this is how the exchanges and these leverage exchanges are going to manipulate and take advantage of people because they're going to think this bearish scenario is going to happen, but actually it's going to be a quick reversal. However, it may not, and it may be completely bearish, okay? But we're going to take advantage of it either way, okay? We're going to make money on this either way, and this is how we're going to do it. So we're going to watch this chart, and we're going to see a very critical line for Solana is right here. See this white line right here? Let me actually zoom in on this, okay? This is back, okay, previous all-time high back in November. Now notice, we started breaking down because some people would think this is where we are right now, because if you just look at the chart, okay, let me actually zoom out real quick and then I'll zoom back in. So let me zoom out, come back over here. So some people think this is where we are, okay? Notice this purple line. This was the all-time high. We hit it right here, hit it actually twice, fell down, tested it again, fell down. Some people are thinking this right here is this right here, and we're going to go through this crazy downswing all the way down here to a 95% correction. I don't see that happening. That would be absolutely insane, but we have to account for that possibility when we're trading, okay? It's a probability of it potentially happening, but based on what I showed you in the first part, I don't think that's going to happen. But if it does, we're going to be able to see it very easily and be able to take advantage of this, okay? So what I'm looking at is a very key level, okay? Let's zoom in on here, and then you guys can see exactly what I'm looking at. See this kind of white line right here, this level at about $69. We went up here, found resistance on the blue, came back down, tried to break out and find resistance on the green. It didn't. It got rejected. Then it fell back down, okay? Fell back down, and then it tried to find support here on the green. It didn't. It fell back down, and once it fell through this gray line right here, that's when it got obliterated, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my long trade. I'm going to have my liquidation price, or you could do a stop loss depending on what leverage you decide to use. I'm going to have that set right here at around $70, okay? In addition to that, I'm going to have my stop loss / liquidation price there. So the long trade that I would be entering would either get liquidated or get stopped out right at this level. And then at the same time, I'm also going to have a limit order for a short come in right at the same price. So when I get stopped out or liquidated, then I'm going to immediately put in a short based on a limit order. And this is all going to be automatically done. Okay, this isn't something I'm going to be watching the chart. It's going to be automatically done. So if this breaks this line, okay, that's not a good sign. That means we could potentially be in for a very long bear market. So if it does break this right here at 68, that's when I put my short in. The long is now voided in my opinion. So then we put in a short, and we're going to ride this short down at least 50%. We'll get at least that 50% crash, but maybe we even ride it all the way down for an 85% correction. Now that might not happen. You might not get, that crazy crash here, but at least we'll be able to ride it down another 50%. Okay, so that is the plan. Okay, we're going to put in our limit order here. Let me show you what I'm looking at. Okay, so right here, if we had our short set, we would enter the trade here. Okay, it would catch this, but then this candle did shoot up a little bit more. So we would still need, it would be pretty tight, okay, for a 10x. I'd probably do like an 8x or 7x, maybe even a 5x, because it did pump up close to 10%, and a 10%, wick up would liquidate you on a 10x short. Okay, so you still want to be careful with that. So I might do, a higher dollar amount short at a lower leverage, just in case. Okay, I might do like, instead of like $100 short at 10x, I might do $200 or $300 short at a 5x leverage. And even if we do catch that, if we catch it down here and it just goes down here, that's 53% at a 5x leverage. That's a 2.5x return. So if we had, a $300 position, that would be close to, $1,000 in profit right there. And then there's a chance that it does even go even lower and follows this crazy bear market. So hopefully we don't see that, but I am prepared for both scenarios. I think the first scenario is going to play out to where we're not here in the market. We are already past that. We are over here based on the Fibonacci sequence. And this will be a good test of these Fibonacci rings and how accurate they truly are, okay, to see if we get the nice recovery here because we're in that Fibonacci ring, okay, versus back here, traditional technical analysis looking at, well, all-time high here, crashed versus, going back over here. So those are the two scenarios I'm looking at, guys. I'm looking to take advantage of this in the market. These scenarios don't come around too often, but when they do, you definitely want to be able to take advantage and make some profit from them. So we can see from the all-time high of Solana, we are down already, 60%. And then if it went down to this line where we would short, that'd be 70%. And then if it went down another, 50% from here, that's looking at right here, it would hit $32. That would be crazy, guys, if it did get that low. But if we do look back here, it would be very similar. All-time high, 240. Down here, that would be an 86% correction. Okay, so these scenarios can happen, guys. We have to be prepared for both of them, and you have to have a strategy. That's what you do as a trader, is you have to have a strategy for both scenarios. How am I going to take advantage of this and be able to hedge my bet so I don't lose? Okay, because yes, I might lose on my long. My long might get voided. It might get liquidated. It might just go up here and then just start crashing. Okay, but right here, this is where I'm going to have the limit short and then ride the short down. Again, remember, in trading, you could have a perfect plan. You could know where the price is going to go. And even knowing all that, you could still lose money in trading because these markets are very manipulated and they can change, and these patterns can change and stuff can happen. So you have to be only trading with funds that you can afford to lose. You have to be able to manage your bankroll accordingly. Don't go all in on one trade, and make sure you have more on the sidelines if you need to reload and enter in another trade. That's what I'm looking at, guys, here on Solana. I know it's kind of crazy, these lines and these rings and stuff. And what I want to actually do now is quickly project the next green ring. Okay, so I actually want to copy this ring. Okay, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to press Control-C, Control-V. Okay, now I have another ring here. Okay, so now let's project this green ring. So I'm going to project it based on what I showed you here. The epicenter of the all-time low will be around here. And what I like to try to do is have this middle ring kind of be, in the center where the price doesn't actually touch it. So it would kind of be drawn like this, actually. Okay, see how the price would kind of move around that middle ring? That's what I'm looking for. It's very similar to this. Look, see how I have that drawn here? Now I do need to kind of check this based on some previous, price action, because when this green ring, it's supposed to, these outer rings here, like this 1.618, 2.618, etc., when it crosses those on a green ring, it's supposed to pump. And it does here. Notice, cross the ring, it goes down a little bit first, but then it pumps. Cross the ring here, down a little first, then pumps. Cross the ring, instant pump. Okay, it's almost at the end of the ring, it stayed silent. Hit the all-time high, then crash. Okay, so that's what I'm kind of looking at. And if we notice that, let's see if it does correlate. It does pretty similar. Look at cross here, cross here. So this is pretty similar, okay? And this is kind of where I'm projecting that it's going to happen here. And notice how, see how these rings perfectly touch? That's when you know that this could be lined up correctly, okay? So there's other ways to check your work. I kind of showed you in the beginning of the video. So that's what I'm looking at here, guys. So the next, bull run for this could be starting, fairly soon, guys. We have the Super Bowl on Sunday, and kind of usually the next week after the Super Bowl is very bullish in the market because things start to heat up. And so all these things are going to correlate together. The stock market is also very correlated to crypto now because of the CME and Bitcoin being on the CME futures. And it's just all very correlated now. So I know this looks kind of crazy and kind of a lot to look at, especially if you haven't seen somebody analyze the charts in this way. But my name is Creative Crypto for a reason, guys. And I like to look at a more creative approach when I look in the charts to see, things that people may not be seeing, and patterns and price action that people may not know is there. Because a lot of people may not be seeing this on the chart, and the only way you could see it is if you drew these Fibonacci rings the exact way I drew it here. But so far so good, it's been playing out, and that's what I'm looking at on the chart. So if you guys are new to TradingView, you can get a free 30-day trial for it. And what's cool is they actually added in this paper trading here where you can actually trade, practice funds. I showed you guys how to do paper trading before, where you just draw a line on the chart. If you want to go long or short, you draw a green line for long, red line for short, and then you wait a day or two and see how the price has done. Now I've done some practice trading. You get $100,000, practice funds in this account for paper trading. Okay, it's pretty cool. I've been testing it out. I put in a 100x short on Bitcoin. I probably should have traded with real money for that one, but I just been kind of practicing. Here's a long I put in on the NASDAQ, not looking too good, but because this is going down, this is going up on my short, because that just shows that these are correlated, because the stock market keeps going down and then Bitcoin keeps going down. Even though my long here is in negative, my short keeps going up, because this was at like $4,800 in profit last night, and now it's in $6,800 in profit, but I've lost $1,200 here. So it's just practice. This is all fake funds. This is all just practicing, but I have grown this account 10% since I started doing it. So it's a good way to kind of practice trade. What you would do is you just click here, you just trade, and I actually can't trade this one here because it's on Binance. So you'd have to go to a different ticker. You'd have to go to Bybit. That's what I did here, Bybit. So you find the ticker and then you can trade right here on the panel. If you guys are interested, I can make a demo video on how to do paper trading with TradingView. That's something that's pretty cool. I might do that in a future video if you guys are interested in it, but it's just something to have and be able to paper trade easily. Okay, TradingView is really the best trading analysis tool you can have in the market. And the best time to get a TradingView subscription is actually on Black Friday. They do the week of Black Friday. They have really good deals. But if you can't wait for that and you want to get in right now, you do get a free 30 days. Okay, you can just use this for free. Okay, but if you want to be able to do paper trading, I don't know if they charge extra. But if you do get a subscription for this, come Black Friday, you can add on to your subscription and give it another whole year at a discounted price. And then basically every Black Friday, you can renew your subscription at a discounted price. That's what I do. I have it set up to perfectly end basically on Black Friday. So something to keep in mind. But if you can't wait, like I said, you can pay the normal price now. Then come Black Friday, you can get on the Black Friday plan. Okay, so just something to look at, guys, here with the charts. And I hope you guys found this interesting. This is stuff that I really find interesting, and I like to dive into the charts and see where is price going to go. What am I not seeing on the chart that I should be seeing? Let's analyze this deeper. Instead of just looking at candles, looking at bars, we can actually try to see based on Fibonacci sequence where the price is going to go, because things in nature and everything in crypto, in markets, they all follow the Fibonacci sequence. It's a hard-coded sequence into our lives, into our universe, and these things tend to follow through. Okay, guys, so that's what I'm going to be doing. That is my plan. I literally gave you my exact playbook. Normally people don't do this. They like to save it for themselves, but I figure these type of videos don't get too many views on my channel, so I don't think we'll be able to move the markets that much to where the big exchanges start to try to manipulate this even more and trade against us. I think we'll be able to all make some profit off of this pattern. All right, guys, so if you like this kind of technical analysis video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe for more. Let me know in the comments, what are you seeing on the Solana chart? Do you think that this pattern is legitimate? Do you think that this is where the price is going to go? We have, basically till Monday, February 8th to enter our long trades and then ride this up for a nice, 100% profit in 30 days. That is what I'm looking for. And then on a 10x leverage, like I said, that'll be a 10x right there. Back to, $200 Solana. Take our profits and then wait for the next entry. And if you guys are wondering how to leverage trade this, I have a link in the description for the Apex Liquid bot. That is a Telegram trading bot on Hyperliquid you can use on Telegram. So even if you're in a country that doesn't allow, leverage trading on Hyperliquid, you can use the Hyperliquid bot on Telegram to trade. Okay, that's one way to do it. You can also use a VPN and go directly on Jupiter, more of a decentralized way. But those are some options for you guys, and that's how you're going to enter the trade. Check out my previous tutorial videos on the Apex Liquid bot, and you can learn how to get that all set up and how you can have time to enter this trade and hopefully make some nice profits along with me. So guys, that does it for this video. Thank you again for all the support on this channel. Thank you all for the thumbs up and subscribes and the comments. I truly do appreciate it. I read every comment, and I really do appreciate you guys being so supportive. And we're going to find ways to make money in this market, whether it's with meme coins, whether it's with leverage trading, whether it's buying and holding some altcoins. We will find ways to make money and profit in this space, and I will share with you guys all the insights and secrets that I know to be able to profit in this market throughout my close to 10 years here in the crypto space. So guys, hope you guys are having a great day wherever you guys are. Until the next time we will talk again, take care and take charge. Creative Crypto out.